Hi everyone, Wolf81TX here, and today I'm bringing you another gun review on the Mossberg ATR 100 270. For hunters, you should like this one. Now, I've got this one outfitted with a bipod just so I can do a little more precision shooting. You don't have to have that, but it does make carrying this thing just a little bit easier. It's a cheap gun. You can usually pick these up at your sporting goods store for about $2.99. Gun Trader lists them worth as $440 to $450, so you actually get a really good value. A lot of times you can pick them up with a scope. This one is not the one that comes with the gun. I actually traded for this one recently because I'd never had a 270 and I figured I'd want to try it out. The scope that he put on here is actually a pretty decent scope. It's not an expensive one, and once I got it sighted in, it actually shoots pretty straight and holds at zero. Now, for those of you who don't know too much about the 270, let me go ahead and pull out a round here. It's actually a lot like a 30-06, just a 27 caliber. I'll tell you how much it is like a 30-06. There's a 30-06 and there's a 270. They're virtually identical. The only difference is the size of the bullet. The case can be used to make either or. In other words, you can make a 30-06 out of a 270 or a 270 out of a 30-06 for you hand loaders. Thought you might find that interesting, as I never knew that. Because of the smaller bullet, it does get a very flat shooting trajectory and reaches higher velocities, so it's actually a pretty good gun all around for the money. Mossberg did a pretty good job on this gun. It's got a fluted barrel and a couple other things just kind of make it look cool. The Mossberg put their name on the bolt, which I wasn't a real big fan of. To me, that just kind of messes up the bolt, but it is what it is, and it's a straight shooter, so I can't complain. So let's take a couple shots with it. Now, one thing I wasn't a really big fan of was it does not have a release down at the bottom, so to unload this, you have to cycle around. It's not a big deal, but I would have preferred to be able to have that option, but for the price, you really can't argue with it. Now, the descriptions on this rifle, it lists as 4+1. I've tried getting the 4+1, trying to get that 5th round in there is a real pain, so I haven't even bothered with it. So I'd actually say it's more accurate to describe it as a 3+1. Alright, let me get my ears on here. I've got a gong set out at about 150 yards, and we're going to see if we can actually get some on target. On. I will say the trigger on this gun is probably one of the best triggers out of all my guns. It has probably the best trigger. It has they call this their lightning system, and I'm not sure if you can see in the video, but it's got a little pre-pull there, and it's got a little lightning bolt in it. Well, that really, once you get to the end of that pull and you hit the trigger, all it takes is just a light set and you're shooting. It's, especially for precision, I can't think of a better system. It hits every time. Now, especially buying used guns, you got to be careful. This one, I figured since somebody else had already owned it, they'd already sighted the scope in. Well, I came out here, just took a couple shots with it, missed every time. I figured, well, let me just see where I can find, maybe I'm hitting high or low. And I played with it for a little bit. Finally, I said, you know what? I gotta bore sight this. So before I did that, I went out to see if I could see where I was hitting. And I was actually hitting left. I was actually putting bullets through the frame of my steel gun. So I came back, bore sighted it, and I mean, she's just a dead shooter. I have not missed yet since I did that. So let's take a couple more shots. Now I'm going to change the angle of the camera so you can see what it looks like when I hit the gong. This thing wants to, it can be a real tack driver. Get a good scope and you'll never miss. So you can see, you don't have to spend a lot of money to get a good shooter. I mean, you're better off getting a gun like this, putting a little more money into optics, and you can have a nail driver, literally. This gun is hit every time as long as I've got the scope set up properly. This scope is a cheap scope, so every now and then I've got to go in, bore sight it, 3-0 it in. You get a good quality scope, you won't have to do that so often. If you're looking to do a little bit of precision shooting, the strap lug for this gun is actually incorporated into the stock. They actually built one onto it, so you don't have the screw-in ones up here. But if you get the Black Hawk Sporter style bipod, it'll clamp onto there real easy. Not wanting to use it, you fold it up and out of the way. You can flip that around so it folds back instead. I prefer it folding forward so I don't have to use it, but I can leave it on the gun. And it's just a really good gun. It really is. It's not bad looking. It's got good lines to it, and it's a good shooter. I read a lot of reviews on this gun saying that you had to get a special stock and do all sorts of things to them. That just made me want to try it out all the more because I had to see what these guys were talking about. That's all bull. You do not need to buy a special high-dollar stock for this gun. It's a good shooter straight out of the box. Well, this one didn't come out of the box, but this is the way it came. And I got a great deal on it, so I can't complain. It's going to be a good little addition to my collection. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Y'all take care.